Um, Hi, we already know what I look like. I mostly feel compelled to speak about gaining greater ability to support myself, support my family. So I crossed the border unwillingly, and I remained here unwillingly until I became pregnant. I was actually very suicidal until I became pregnant. I quit being suicidal and I started to aim towards living forever because that's what we're taught is a possibility. So I went to the religion, the Watchtower Tract Society. So they have a way of coping with non-mind readers. Um, Charlene said they're a cult. Charlene herself didn't. Charlene is my son's grandmother, who is a very good mind reader that I never could talk with directly about our specific physiological differences. So I was very sad about that. Also, her sister, Faith, they were very honest to me as much as they could be honest at the time because they died before I could gain more information about myself. Um, I did not go to them in the flesh to talk with them, nor did they approach me in the flesh themselves to talk with me. So I'm telling myself, the part in my guild that commenced at schizophrenia was in 2011, wherein I had declared that I will have an abortion if I become pregnant because some concerns I had about child rearing were not being resolved. So, because of that declaration, that is the initial offense that caused the mind readers to attack my brain. I had given a vow to the religion, to not have an abortion. The Jehovah's Witness stand is anti-abortion, no abortion under no, there is no circumstance wherein they feel abortion is justifiable. Oh, they talk about that, and then they say ultimately it's up to God to judge each individual. So I was judged very, very harshly um, when I took that stand back in 2011, and so after the schizophrenia attack of 2012 became worse, more people were utilizing unfriendly telepathy. So I had to figure in what happened. What happened is related to the fact that I was suicidal before I became a want to live forever entity, sentient being, spirit, soul, human being. I don't know, whatever you want to call me, Hispanic. So it has to do with that because I like I said, the offense was that I offended the family of mind readers who felt that they had been very loving to me. That they probably felt like they had gone out of their way um to extend smiles my way, or you know um, they were making me live a see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil life. So that's very PG for me, a sweet life. So when I I declare that I could not bear more children. I believe that was the initial offense for the schizophrenia. And I believe the second offense that made the schizophrenia worse after my son's dad head was hurt has to do with the sound in that room. Where I didn't perceive the sound where he said possibly let's get divorced or let's go get a divorce. Something about getting a divorce finally. He was speaking that out loud himself. So I did not hear him speak that out loud because my brain was blocked away from my suicidal times in the past when I was taking LSD till I died. I literally had 3 strokes, brain hemorrhage from intense partying when I was 15 years old. So I did not, with the sleep deprivation, I did not hear the the voice of the one in front of me. I only could hear what the internal conflict within me was, the great distress that I was living in, plus the unfriendly people that had already gathered against me. I had already told the Jehovah Witness religion that I'm disassociating. I also had refused to tell the men why I was disassociating. I, in fact, had thought about them as blasphemers because they sought to procure words from me that I thought were only meant for God, because I had made God my best friend. That's the creature that in the book says that I don't even have to use my words to explain myself. So I had become a very, very quiet human being. And I was really uncomfortable talking to men about my private life. So, because that's the way the religion functioned, and they had told me not to talk to their wives nor any of the women about anything I'm going through. So was awful. So I disassociated myself, but I also obeyed. I did not really talk details with the women, and I didn't talk to any of them. So that's the initial, schizophrenia, where I had offended these two, the family, my son's dad's family, who is anti-abortion, or, well, Charlene said she's not judgmental and she thinks each woman has the right to choose. But anyway, in in general, I think that his family has anti-abortion sentiments. So offending them and offending the religion, plus I guess the neighborhood too, because it's like I'm saying, well, this was not good enough for me, for my son. I don't see myself procreating among you. So they were like, okay, I'm grateful. So they were really, really bad, really unfriendly in silence, and were not letting me sleep. And so I was angry at the voices not letting me sleep, not at Mark saying, let's get divorced. Okay, if I heard Mark say, let's get divorced, that's what I wanted. I, in fact, was thinking, why September already? This marriage is supposed to be over in June. In fact, this marriage is supposed to have not been, because he was in prison. The law was supposed to say, your wedding is nullified, your wedding is null, your wedding is not valid, he's in prison. And they didn't. So unfortunately, I feel like there was a spy camera, and people heard and looked at me, like they heard him say, let's get divorced, and then they saw me hit his head, and then I got this great hate that engulfed his engulfed all the other, people. They started hating me and inventing ways to hurt my heart, to hurt my brain, but mostly hurt my heart, where it hurts most, where it has to do with as if I offended the majesty in procreating. And so, see, I did not, though, because as soon as I comprehend how different we are in my brain from your brains, I see my true aim, my true purpose in life, to improve myself. I'm on the path of self-improvement since I was born, inevitably, but to achieve my utmost capabilities I simply have to breed mind readers. So that's where Mark himself with Gary felt like they're doing me a favor by grabbing this non-mind reader that is, smuggled across the border like that. And anyway, what best of anything I could find in this world is a loving family who would care for the non for the have mind reader, have non-mind reader progeny that I could produce. So they already had his safety, they already had him, you know with a bright future, with a good prospect for him ahead of himself. But I was the parent that is, different. And so other people could latch on to my brain due to my brain's vulnerability that has affected now even his new daughter and the woman that he was making love to make that daughter. In fact, when they were busy making love to make that daughter, I was not thinking about Mark being jealous, thinking that, oh, I miss him, I love him, I want to not divorce him. I was very busy writing letters to another male, trying to make another family for myself, for my son. The male had said in letters in 2015, I have a brother in Montana, you with your son with me, we could get together, we'll move away to Montana. We were excluding Mark completely from, I was anyway, from our future plans. I was excluding the Ruizes too, my mom's husband. I was excluding him. I was excluding the religion even at that point. So I really was not the 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 story that was publicized, where and I'm insane trying to hang on to a wedding for a document transaction that ultimately, for me, what was in my heart was to travel. Okay, so I could not really want a work authorization or a visa to stay put. In fact, as soon as I got the work authorization, I was already blabbing my mouth to Diego about, oh, I'm all excited at work here now. I want to go to all the warehouses all over the country. So if I had my health, I wanted to entry level position jobs. I wanted to do entry position jobs at all the warehouses in the country for the logistics company, Amazon. So among the many thoughts that I've had in my existence and in my plans, they always include going. No permanent residence in any particular region. So here I am 30 years in the same place, explaining to myself, my defects in character, the nature in our wrongs, asking and begging, please, that we get together to resolve our conflicts so that we can live a more harmlessly existence, wherein I am actually an individual that is viewed as someone who does contribute her share in all the cost of living. Please, because I don't have the brain capability to make an arrangement without words, without friendly talk, where the words are something that I can comprehend. Um, so I'm really sorry about the great confusion in in my character. Um, I'm very eager to not feel like I'm a burden to myself, to society. Uh, so I'm I'm approachable. I'm available. Um, I really hope this Thanksgiving is going. I mean, this Thanksgiving's not going to repeat itself the way that Thanksgiving was, where I had to be alone outside without a structure to enter feeling uncomfortable, like I'm intruding in other families. Like everybody that I've ever known, I feel like I would be intruding on them if I asked them to stay with them. I mean, I just keep thinking about Alice. It's like, that's all I have is the people in that had, gone to the church with prior to 2010 when I quit going as regularly, 2012. Alice was single, living in a house all alone. So I just think of her, about her. I don't know what other living arrangement to consider, except, thinking of who has lots of rooms, and she or he is only one on the property. And so people like that, obviously are the ones that have the ability to pull others away from a homeless situation. Because I own no property to my name, I consider myself homeless. My mom says I stay here, and I get feelings of psychological demand or eviction to this extent, wherein I'm hoping that those that hold the guns have the patience to listen to a 17-18 minute recording. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring.